Love Notions ambassador. You can find me sewing at Gabe and Zach on social media. I'm here today to talk about an adjustment that I make on most pants. That is a prominent, protruding, or large calf adjustment. Why do I make this adjustment? Well, as you can guess, I have large calves. I am a cyclist and I do some weightlifting, so I have larger calves. I'm not ashamed of it. I think that's fine. And this adjustment that I'm going to walk you through today helps to give more ease to my calves so that my pants fit a little bit better. Now, how do you know if you need this adjustment? There's a few things to look for. The first is if you have drag lines like this. This is a sign that you might need to adjust your pants for your calf size. Completely fine, we can do that. Another way to check is if you have, like, your calves are 2+ sizes larger than your thigh measurement. Okay, so I know the question hanging out there is, why don't I just grade out to the size that I need? Now, I've done that a lot, and that's oftentimes what I do because it's just a little bit quicker. But by just grading your pattern piece out, you're still going to get some of those drag lines. And I find that you're grading out both your front and back pattern piece, where this adjustment is just to the back. And so your side seams are actually going to change. They're not going to be maintain the straight side seams like is ideal. I think that just making the time to alter your pattern piece gets you a much better fitting pant. Today I'm going to be walking you through the adjustment on the Sabrina Slims. This is a slim cigarette style knit pant pattern. It's a great pattern to make adjustments to. It has a fit guide that comes with the pattern with lots of different fit options, but it's simple in the plain view to just make adjustments, try it out, and see how those do. I've made quite a few different pairs of Sabrina Slims, and I find that the prominent calf adjustment really helps the fit of the pants for me. When do you do this adjustment in the order of process of adjusting your pattern? So if you need to adjust your inseam length, do that first. If you need to adjust the rise of your pants, you can do that before or after. You do want to make sure that you measure your crotch to knee measurement and confirm that it matches where the notch is on the pattern piece before you get started, as well as your knee to calf measurement. If those are off, then you're not going to do the adjustment at the correct spot on the pants pattern. This can make a big issue. As you can see right here, this is an adjustment that I made, and I actually had it at the wrong spot. I'm still getting a lot of drag lines. If you're getting drag lines that are completely straight across, that means that you have too much excess fabric between your knee and your calf. So I actually did the adjustment too low because I wasn't measuring where my calf actually hit at. So go ahead, print or trace your pattern, grade your waist, your hip, and your thigh, keeping your pattern piece the same for your thigh all the way down to the hem. Make your inseam length adjustments if you need to do so. Double check your knee is at the same measurement from crotch to the notch on the pattern piece, and if it's not, mark it, and then go ahead and measure your knee to your calf. Now that you've done that, we'll go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the supplies that you need for this hack. The first piece you'll need is the pattern piece. This, you can either print this or trace it like I have. You will want to grade per your measurements. I have graded from a 10 waist to an 8 hip and a 12 thigh. We do not want to go ahead and grade for the calf at this point, since that's the adjustment we'll be making. So I've carried the 12 all the way down through the calf. You'll need some extra paper or tracing paper, pens or pencils, a ruler, scissors, and tape. Now let's talk about how much of an adjustment you need to make. I'm using my own measurements here to show, but you can do the same calculations yourself. So I've measured my calf. The widest part is 15.5 inches. If I was not doing this adjustment, I would just grade out to that, which would be a size 16. So this adjustment allows just for the back of the calf to have more ease to it. The pattern itself has 1 inch of negative ease. So that means that when I'm looking at the size 12, which is where I've used for my thigh all the way down the leg, it's a 13.5 inch finished measurement is what we're looking at. Adding the 1 inch of negative ease. So technically the size 12 is drafted for 14.5 inches, but my measurement is 15.5 inches. So we will be making a 1 inch adjustment here. Let me show you how I walk through that adjustment. We are working with the back pattern piece for the Sabrina Slims. This is traced off. I have traced my size 12, which is my thigh measurement, all the way down the leg. And then I will be making a 1-inch protruding calf adjustment to just the back pattern piece on here. So to start off, we want to take our ruler and make a line across at the knee. So where these notches were on the pattern piece, if you haven't marked those, I would go back and mark those. That's the knee measurement. This is just kind of a guide for us. Now I have measured my calf, and it is 7 inches down from my knee. So I'm going to make a mark there in the center of my pattern piece. Next, what we'll do is we will make another mark 1.5 to 2 inches above that. Okay. Now, we are going to open up the pattern so that using the top mark, we are going to cut up to the side of the hip without cutting into the pattern. We're going to leave about 1/4 inch left, all the way down to that dot. And then we're going to do the same thing to about like 3 or 4 inches below the crotch seam. Okay. And so it has this little triangular cutout, and then we will make a line straight down the leg from the dot all the way down to the hem. So by doing this, what this allows us to do is to pull these pieces apart so that we can get the distance that we need for our adjustment. So now, if you have a large piece of paper, you can use that. Okay, now that we have this, the reason we didn't cut all the way into these pieces is so that we have a hinge point. That allows for our pattern pieces not to flop around, and it gives them some area to give more ease. We know that we need a 1-inch adjustment at this top portion of our pattern piece. So we're going to lay this out with a 1-inch difference. Perfect. And then grab a piece of tape and tape that down. Okay, and now all we need to do is tape down here as well. All right, I've used a larger piece of tracing paper than this, so I'm going to trim that off. All right, so that is all we needed to do for this calf adjustment. Though, if you do look and see, you can cut this as is. Or if you want to bring in the hem width, you can. Since we've done this adjustment, it does make this wider at the hem, so we can do kind of the opposite to bring back in that. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down 1.5 inches from my original marking. This is where my calf hits. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more calf room, and I'm going to put a mark here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make slashes upwards again, with again leaving a 1/4 inch towards the edge so that we have another hinge point. And then slice straight down the center. Alrighty. Oh, and if this comes apart, totally easy to fix. Just take a little piece of tape and tape this back up so that you still can maintain a hinge point. Just tape on the edge. All right, so what we want to do is we want to bring these in together so that the original pattern piece lines are connected or as close together as you can get them. So they might not be making a completely straight line at the bottom. That's okay. That's because we've made adjustments already. And you'll see that your other pieces are going to kind of fall back together. Tape that all into place. So only at the hem am I actually getting them to completely touch or overlap. This is allowing, basically we've created this outer portion for the shape of your calf. And this right here, where everything is coming together, is where there is the additional calf room. So at this point, you can cut and trim this straight if you'd like, although this will even out when you cut it, so you don't need to do that. And depending on your adjustment, you may see more or less of a shape for your calf, but this is giving you additional ease for your calf without having to grade out, which might make it also maintains that your side seams are going to be in the original place rather than moving towards the back to adjust for your calf. So at this point, you are ready to cut your pattern, your fabric. You will cut mirror images of the back as well as mirror images of the front, and then you can sew as normal. You may find that you might need additional adjustments to the pattern, which is fine. And there is a fit guide with the Sabrina Slims that helps you see what kind of lines you have and where that adjustment might be. Common other adjustments with the prominent calf adjustment is a knock knee adjustment, or you might find that if you don't put your calf adjustment at the correct place, you might get some lines. So make sure that you're measuring from your knee to your calf correctly. Now that we've made the pattern adjustments, we're ready to get sewing. Go ahead and cut out your pants and construct according to the tutorial. There's no other changes that you need to make. You can just follow along. I hope that you enjoyed this adjustment. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can again find me on social media and ask there. I hope you enjoy your new Sabrina Slims or whatever pants that you decide to make with this prominent calf adjustment. Other pant patterns that Love Notion features include the duets and the allegros. Both of those patterns can use a prominent calf adjustment as well. Happy sewing!